What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Go to Trades, and I'm back with the Straw Hat Trading Channel. We are back with another weekly analysis of the stock market ahead, so you are prepared for the stock market, price action, all that good stuff that's about to happen. Anyways, this week wait, before I even get started on this week, guys, I apologize. Last week I missed my last week analysis video, and I did promise that I was gonna probably drop a video within like the midweek, maybe a midweek update, but I did not do that. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, I get sometimes too optimistic when it comes down to my schedule, so I could not do that, and I missed last week's weekly analysis because I was out of town. Something came up and I had some business to handle, but we are back with this weekly analysis video, so let's get started. All right, so this week, this stock market has been, I guess, kind of mixed, right? So we hit all-time highs on the NASDAQ. We hit all-time highs on ES, and maybe not this week, but last week. Well, not last week. Not last week, but a week after, or a week before. But throughout the broad market, you can see that the broad market shows a lot of red, while the big tech, you have Netflix, Microsoft, Meta, NVIDIA, a little bit of Apple. You have QCOM. You have like mainly big tech holding up, right? So big tech is definitely holding up the market, and you can see that in the NASDAQ versus the S&P 500 versus the RTY, the Russell, and the Dow Jones. So the broader market is just looking kind of weak, right? While big tech is looking strong. Yeah. Usually, now this is not all the time. Usually when this happens is a precursor, right? That there may be a larger sell-off in the future, in the short-term future. When I mean short-term, I mean within a week or two, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So this could be the case here, maybe not. But one of the biggest indicators for me, if the market was going to get some type of weakness, I'd be looking at financials. I felt like within this past year, financial has been pretty much going straight vertical up. Yeah, technology has been leading the charge in terms of like the whole like volume and density of the move, but it's really finance that has been kind of the canary in a gold mine, I guess. If you really think about it, right? When even like the bank issue happened last year, and basically banks were going under, and you had that massive sell-off, it was really banks that was driving the forces, and obviously JP saving the banks that rebounded the market. So I think financial conditions right now in the finance sector is what we should be paying the most attention to. That's just what I think, and that's just an opinion, but that is what I'm really looking at this week. So if we get continuation of more weakness within this week, then I'd be a little bit more concerned. I'm not gonna lie to you. Next, let's go ahead and look at our earnings whisper. So we have some earnings coming out this week. We have notably that I'd probably look at. We have Kava, we have Box, we have Chewy. That might be a pretty decent one. Salesforce is going to be my biggest looker, I guess. This is going to be the one I'm watching the most, Salesforce. I do believe that AI is cool, but I do think cybersecurity is where it's going to be in the upcoming future. That's where I believe money will be getting poured in the future. So cybersecurity, CRM, that's what I'm looking at. Don't really care too much about C3 AI, but a lot of people do. It's going to be a pretty decent look to watch. And Dell, that's going to be major. Check out Dell. Remember, NVIDIA just went crazy with their earnings, and Dell and NVIDIA are close partners, so I would look at Dell for sure. Also, Zscaler, another cybersecurity name, I'd be looking at that. That's a big one. And I'd also be looking at MongoDB. Those are the names that I'd be watching for. If I were to give some type of guesstimation of what could happen, the only thing I could probably say would be a decent buy into earnings would probably be either Dell or ZS. I'm not too sure about CRM. I'm not too sure about everything else. I do think, fundamentally speaking, I do believe that Dell is they're doing a lot with AI. They're working closely related with the biggest company in the world right now, And I think that this would be definitely, it wouldn't even matter if you go up or down in earnings, which I do believe like the earnings would probably beat. But I do think we can get a sympathy move on Dell. Zscaler, I do believe that Zscaler, the chart of Zscaler looks pretty good. It looks pretty constructive. I like it for the upside, and that's what I'd be watching for. Next, you do have your your economic reports. You do have a little bit of Fed speakers speaking, but it's at this point, Fed speaker speaking is just Fed speaker speaking. It's not even like too big anymore, except if it's JP speaking. Anyways, you do have consumer confidence that's going to be okay, like decently important. You have the beige book that might be okay, but nothing really moving the market. The only thing that you're going to get toward the end of the week is, and it's going to be on your close, right? On your monthly closes, you're going to have initial jobless claims. You're also going to have your GDP. And last but not least, you're going to have your PCE. This is going to be pretty important. So these are what you want to pay attention to. Your Thursday and your Friday, okay? Anyways, let's get started with the market. So within the market analysis, let's look at these macroeconomic indicators within the dollar and the U.S. bonds. The U.S. dollar, you look decent, right? So you have this weekly downtrend on the dollar, and as you started this weekly downtrend on the dollar, and I could show you, this is your mid-April. This is when you found your bottom on the Nasdaq, right? So we've been downtrending on this monthly uptrend, right? This is a monthly uptrend. We've been actually trending down on this weekly time frame. We've been trending down. And now we are at a point of, could we break out of this downtrend on the weekly chart, or are we going to continue breaking down? So this week is a bounce or die on the dollar. If we end up bouncing on the dollar here, I'd expect us to have some type of breakout, right? If we get some type of breakout on a hold here, on some type of hold in this area, we get some type of hold and a breakout, I do believe that would be a very, very, very bullish catalyst for the dollar and a very bearish catalyst for the market. So I want to watch this week. How we close this week is going to be everything. This is your monthly close this week. Everything, all your chips are lined up this week, okay? How we're going to be looking for the next month or two is going to be lined up with how the dollar moves, in my opinion. So please pay attention to the dollar. Again, I've been saying this forever. Right now, you look like you are forming a cup and handle. You just created your cup. You broke down for your handle. So are we going to actually use this handle as a handle and continue going higher? If we do, then the market is cooked. That's what I believe. Now, if I go to the U.S. 10-year bond yields, same thing. You have same formation here. So if you do, and you are kind of finding that base, but if you actually do break above this trend line here, which you actually have, this little green trend line here, if you break above, which you kind of already have, then you should propel yourself back to that 4.7-ish level. If you break above 4.7 and you mount it, I do believe that you're trying to target 5%. So that would be bearish for the market. Trying to target 5% is equivalent to you trying to, like, where the market was, like, in that October 2023. If you remember, that's when we found our bottom on the market. So I do believe that we would be very bullish bearish on the market if that were to happen. So that's what I'm watching for. Next, let's go to yields. Let me turn off my indicators. Not yields, sorry. The indexes. So on the indexes look pretty good, right? You have your Nasdaq making 5 straight weekly breaks, right? You've been going high for 5 weeks straight. This was a decent run. Now I do believe that this is over if we actually break out on the dollar, right? And right now everything is kind of precursing that this is kind of going to be over, at least for the short term. I do believe that we are going to end the year at all-time highs. I still believe that. I still believe that we are going higher, even higher than we are right now. However, I do believe that this pullback here was not enough. I do still believe that we are trying to get this buy zone down here on the market. It may not look like it now, but trust, right? if the dollar breaks out and yields break out, which it kind of looks like it already is, I do believe that the NASDAQ will follow suit. And I do believe that your target is going to be from your January open to your January low. Anything in here is going to be free game for buyers to try to step back in. And I will be a buyer here. Anywhere between these zones is what I'm looking for, right? And the reason why I am stating that on the NASDAQ is because if we look at the Dow Jones is your leader. The Dow Jones leads all the moves, right, that we've been having in terms of when the market has been going down, the Dow Jones have been finding buyers, right? When the market is starting to find buyers, the Dow Jones is already rallying, right? When the market is rallying, the Dow Jones is starting to go sideways. And when the market is starting to go sideways, the Dow Jones has already sold off, right? So the Dow Jones has been leading the charge, and it's been apparent. It actually has been apparent. So what I'm looking for, the Dow Jones has already broken down already, right? The Dow Jones broke down, and it's already trying to test let me go ahead and show you. It's already trying to test your January high here. Your January high is all the way right here on the NASDAQ. That's around 18,000, right? So I do believe that the same thing is kind of going to happen, right? And that's only if the dollar follows suit. So if the dollar follows suit, I do believe that it's going to happen as well, where we try to test this January high, potentially maybe even going down to our January open, because that is my target on the Dow Jones, is your January close to your January open. That is going to be the target. So if that is the target, that's what I'd be watching for on NQ. So that's what I see. If you even look at the ES has already broken down of your uptrend here. It already has broken down, and you're looking like you want to pull back. Maybe pull back to your major demand area here to your February high. Maybe you want to pull down even to your secondary demand area over here at 51.31. Who knows? But you do have some levels to beat, obviously. If you get under your last week's low, which was at 52.73, you could find buyers here between your 52.60 to your 52.40. Yeah, that could happen. But if you break this, then you are going down to this major demand area. Very similar to the NASDAQ. But if you break down of your uptrend, then I do believe that you're going to try to retest this. It's now, I wouldn't call it an NVIDIA demand zone. I just call it your primary demand zone. So this is like your major demand zone here. So that's what I'd be watching for. And if you don't get that, then you have your secondary demand zone here. Here, let me go ahead and fix that. You have your secondary demand zone right here. So that is between, what is this? Between 18.1 to 18,000, and this one is 17.8 to about 17.650. So that's what I'd be watching for. Those are going to be your two major demand zones on both NQ and ES. If you break those demand zones, then you are going to go to your next level, which again is going to be the 16.5 to 16.8. And on ES, it's going to be your 5,000, basically your 5,050 to your 5,020. So that's what you're going to be watching for. For the Russell and the Dow Jones, you already broken down. Like, you already broken down out of your uptrend. At this point, I'm just watching to see how low you get, right? So if we actually try to rally on RTY, I do believe we'll find some type of weakness between, what is this area here? This is your 2096 area. So between your 2096 and your, what is this? Your last week open. If you find some type of weakness between here, if you end up rallying, then I do think you're going to rally into sellers, and you are looking to potentially get under your last week's low. And that's going to be around 2045, and under that, you have your 2030. If you break under 2030, you have a lot of downside, okay? But that is what I'm watching for on the RTY. If we look at the Dow Jones, kind of similar. You want to find buyers here. If you don't find buyers to curl you back up, then you do have room all the way down to right about here, your January close to your February low. So between here, you have some type of demand buyers here. So anything between 38.50 to about 39, that's what you're looking for buyers to step you in. If they don't, then you could just continue to like go down to your 2021 demand zone area. So that is what I'm watching for on the indexes. If you guys have any question, make sure to leave a comment down below. Also, make sure to leave a like on the video. It helps the channel out a lot. Anyways, here is your tech chart. If we look at your tech chart, you have your big tech here. Big tech has been looking crazy. It's broken out, and you clear your all-time highs. It looks just like the Nasdaq right now. Even if you look at the Nasdaq, let me show you. On the weekly, you have your all-time highs. You pull back, you break your all-time highs, and it shows the same thing. All-time highs, you pull back, you break your all-time highs. It looks the exact same thing. So, because of that, I want to see what happens to big tech. If big tech start getting weak up here, if we see big tech start getting weak, and big tech actually breaks down under your all-time high, right? If we end up like breaking down and we hold it and we continue going higher, that's super bullish. But if we end up breaking down and we can't claim above, then that's what I want to watch for the Nasdaq. That would validate my theory as well, right? So if we end up validating that theory, I do believe that you do have room all the way down to this area to retest your buy zone before. And if you can't claim this buy zone here, you do have your secondary buy zone right in this area here. That's the one that I've had marked out for a while. So that's what I'd be watching for. And again, that's only if you break down. I mean, if you continue going higher, you continue going higher. But these are all the levels, right? So if we just mount your previous high, then you're just bullish. Like you're not going anywhere. But it's just, you got to be prepared for that situation. If you actually do break down, then you have some levels to break to the downside. Next, you have your XLK. XLK looks super, 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 super bullish, right? You've been consolidating for damn near half a year. We've been consolidating for almost 6 months, and now we finally broken out. We broken out, and then now we're trying to mount what we just broken out. So if we end up mounting, then I do believe that we're going to try to go higher to 230. However, if we do fail to mount this area, then we may try to retest this what is this, your 200 area, maybe try to retest your 195, who knows. But right now the general consensus is just to stay above your all-time highs, your previous all-time highs. So that is basically the goal of bulls. If you're a bull in the market, you just want to mount your previous all-time highs that you just broke, right? So kind of similar to QQQ. It looks like you're potentially trying to break out. You've been consolidating for about half a week, really, just in this range, right? You've just been consolidating in this range, and while you're consolidating, you are making higher lows, and higher highs. So at this stage, I do believe that you're trying to break out. If you break out, I do believe you have room all the way to 465. That is going to be your target. Around 465 is your target. If you get to 465 within like the week to end, maybe you could target that 470. But that's what I'm watching for the week, a 465 to 470 push. However, if you cannot, again, just like all the bearish cases that I'm bringing out, if you can't get over your weekly high at what is this? This is at 460. If you can't get over 460 and hold it, then you could just break down, right? So we're just watching at this point to see what happens. Next, we do have your chips. Chips, pretty similar. Again, you look just like the Nasdaq, right? Where you are making all-time highs, you pull back, you grind higher, and now you are above your all-time highs, right? Same thing here. It just looks the exact same thing. So what I'm watching for, again, is if we continue going higher. If we continue going higher, my target is going to be this 250 area. But again, if we cannot hold this and we end up pulling back, you want to play the mount. So if you mount around 230, your previous all-time highs, or even in this wick, if you mount your 239, or if not your 230, then I do believe that you're trying to prepare to go higher. But if you cannot mount it, then I do believe that you are setting up for a pullback, right? So it's the same thing all across the board. You do have a potential cup and handle forming. So you had one right here, boom, and you broke out. Now you have your major one, right? So boom, you have your cup, right? If we end up pulling back and mount your previous all-time highs, right? If we end up mounting this and then curl back up, that's a cup and handle. You have a amazing setup for even like a bigger move and a more explosive move to the upside. So that's what I'm watching for. I do think chips at the end of the year it's going to be even more. I do believe that Nvidia is going to go to like 15, maybe 12. We do have that split, so obviously it's going to be to 200 maybe to 150, whatever the case may be. So I do think that chips is just super bullish, and whatever pullback we get, whether if we get a deep pullback or a semi-deep pullback, whatever pullback we get, we need to capitalize and we need to buy. And that's what I believe, okay? So that's what I'm watching for both these charts. Now let's look at the stocks. Same thing. I do believe that we're going to try to get above here. If we do try to get to this 250 area, I'm looking for a amount of previous highs. Obviously it's going to be at 225, 227. If we cannot hold 225, 227, then so this is 225, 227. If we cannot hold this area, then I do believe that we are going to try to mount this 216, 210 area. So that's what I'm watching for on the chips market. So any pullback at this stage, as long as we're mounting these levels, then you're fine, right? Because on chips, if I were to be honest on chips, even if you pull back, right? So say we just like go higher and we end up pull back, we could pull back all the way down to 200 and we're still bullish. You get what I'm saying? So we're still bullish at this stage. There's no like, until we're not, like there's no point of like saying that we are bearish right now until we're not. But obviously there are precursors that's showing that there may be a sell coming. Now, me personally, I'm still leveraged into SPY and QQQ puts. I've been in it since, let me see, like around mid-May, I've been leveraging higher. So as we've been going higher, I've just been putting more puts for dated August. And, so I don't think a lot of people could stomach playing dated contracts like that. But I look at the market as a stock and not a money glitch like a lot of people do, especially retail traders. So I do believe that we are setting up to have a mean pullback, but I do think that this mean pullback that we have is going to shake a lot of people out of the market, and that's where we are going to capitalize if you are paying attention to what I'm saying. Now, I want to show you guys some individual names that I'm watching. I haven't been doing that a lot on this channel. Like lately, I've been doing it like when we were going crazy in February and March, but I wasn't doing it like within April and May. So let me get back into it. I'm so sorry for not giving you guys some of the secret sauce, right? So in this analysis, I just want to go over Amazon and Nvidia and Meta. Those are the three charts I want to go over. And Amazon. So Amazon and Meta are going to be the bearish plays, and Nvidia is going to be the bullish play, right? So let's get into it, right? Let's go to the bearish plays first, and then we'll end off with the more optimistic, right? Okay, so on Amazon is looking pretty bearish in my opinion. My chart is a little messed up. Let me go ahead and fix it. So Amazon's looking pretty bearish in my opinion. And I think my opinion's pretty valid at the moment, and it's only I guess the first quarter right now to this move, right? I do believe that within this move you can propel yourself to go higher. So this could just be some type of flag formation to break out, right? And that's why we're just kind of like going over each scenario. So right now we've been making on a daily chart, we've been making a series of lower highs and lower lows. So if you notice within the last day, we made a lower high, right? I mean, a higher low. So if we can actually, right, if we can actually just break back above, right, if we break back above this, what is this, 185 area, right? If we break above that, then we could end up, breaking out of this downtrend, or we can just continue to go lower, right? So we use this to build liquidity, find buyers, and if you end up failing in this resistance zone, I do believe that you could just continue breaking down to try to fill this gap. You have a gap here, which does have a lot of confluence. This is 174 or 175 area. That's what I would be targeting if we get to this 185. So 185 to 174. That's what I'd be maybe having some type of contract by. If, and that's only if, we find weakness up here at this 185 area. However, if you do break above, right? So if this actually becomes some type of support that propels you higher, right? Then I do believe that a breakout above 185. So if you take your loss above 185 because you just broke out, and then you retest your 185 break, then that would be an entry for upside. So that's what I'd be watching for on Amazon. I do believe that you have a lot of potential here, but it all depends on if you actually get some type of weakness or not. Next, we have Nvidia. Oh, actually, no. Let's do Meta first, and that's another bearish play. So I do believe that Meta at this moment, you are setting up to either sell or break out. So you just came down and made a lower low, and you are potentially trying to make a lower high. This area is where I believe sellers are stepping in, obviously. So this was your demand area before. Actually, scratch that. This was your supply zone here. Let me get my tool. Where is it? Your brush. Okay, boom. This was your supply area when we came up. We hit the supply. We sold, and then we end up breaking. Once we broke and claimed the zone, we went higher. Boom. You see how we went higher, we retest and broke out again. Yeah. So now we retested it. We tried to hold it, but we end up selling it, right? So now we are trying to retest this zone here, and this is a potential trend line, downwards trend line that we are forming. So with this area of confluence, I do believe that this is where sellers need to step in. So if sellers step in between 478 and 480, and you end up failing to keep this zone, I do believe that you have two options, right? You could try to sell and get back under this major bullish order block that's here, which is at 430, and then this could be your opportunity to get back higher. Or if you fail to claim the zone, then you do have a gap here at 405 between 415 and 407. So that's what I'd be watching for. That is what I'm watching for Meta. That's going to be like my major play for the week. So that's what I'm watching for. Nvidia, the beast. I do believe that the beast is trying to get, at the end of the week, I do believe that the beast is trying to test the lower end of this uptrend, right? So usually how this works, right? When you have an uptrend that's carrying you in one direction and you break this uptrend, you create a downtrend, right? So we broke the uptrend and we created a downtrend. Once this downtrend got invalidated, we created a new uptrend, right? So now at this point, because we broke our uptrend to the upside, even to a different trajectory, usually we try to use our previous trajectory, which was the support line here, as newfound resistance. So this area here, I do believe, is going to be your area of confluence for Nvidia. This is going to be where Nvidia, if Nvidia were to get some type of sell or some type of weakness, I do believe it'll be somewhere up here. So if we were to rally or squeeze within a week, I do believe we'll get to 1200, right? So getting to 1200 will be the target that I'd be watching for upside. So if we get some type of sell entry, so some type of sell entry would be like maybe getting deeper in this gap. So if we get under 1,000 and we try to use previous all-time highs at 973 as a demand area, then this will be a great buy zone to play it for the long. That'd be a pretty good buy zone in my opinion. However, if maybe we don't get that. If we don't get that and we just continue to bolt higher, I do believe as long as you hold above, what is this? Your previous close on the day. Let me see. This was right here. If you hold above like 1,040, if you hold above that, then that'll be a pretty good buy zone as well. And I do believe your target will be 1,200. That is my opinion. And that's what I'd be watching for on the video. That's like, those are the 3 top plays that I'm watching for the week. You guys let me know what you guys want me to cover. Maybe for in-depth analysis. Maybe I could do something on Wednesday. Maybe I could do some type of weekly and not weekly, but midway analysis video. Maybe a video on the weekend video, the next weekend video, because we're going to be closing the monthly chart out. Maybe I could do some type of analysis on some more names. So just give me some ideas. The rest of the names here I'm not really interested in. And yeah, these are just the main ones that I like right now: Amazon, Nvidia, and Meta. So this has been your boy Go to Trades. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Again, my Discord link is down below in the description. Join up, join the crew. And with that being said, I am out. Peace.